Hey, what's good, everyone? Twisted here with Open Sorcery, and today I want to go ahead and talk about a particular subject that I would consider myself rather well acquainted with, based on my own magical practices and things I happen to do on a rather frequent basis. That, in particular, being the Shem HaMephorash, or the 72 Angels of the Zodiac, also known as the 72 Names of God, Kabbalistic Angels, and so on. So, when it comes to references of the Shem HaMephorash, right, and where they happen to be coming from, a lot of the time, in terms of most modern magical texts, they tend to reference a work from the 1951 La Kabbale Pratique, which is a French work originally authored by Robert Ambelin, as best I can go ahead and pronounce it because I do not speak French all that well. But in terms of the English translation of that title, La Kabbale Pratique means the practical Kabbalah, and it is a obviously Kabbalistic work, a particular, for those who are unaware of it, a manner of mysticism from, the Jewish, Judaic realm of things within the Abrahamic realm of religions and such. Now, being that it's a French work, it was actually translated into English in 2003 by a man named Piers A. Vaughan. Now, while the work from the 1950s itself is by no means anything original, being that it was derived from older grimoires and magical systems from many hundreds and thousands of years ago, and has more so been something that has survived the test of time. This happens to be what a lot of modern Western magical texts reference when it comes to the Shem HaMephorash itself. So, once again, the Shem HaMephorash, right? They are the 72 angels of the Zodiac. And when it comes to that, the Zodiac, for those who know their astrology, is pretty much 12 different signs that are a part of the astrological systems, whether it be the Western sort or even the Eastern sort when it comes to the Hindu astrology, or at least in terms of how it's translated and correlated. Now, we have gone ahead and discussed the Western and tropical sphere and realm of astrology beforehand with the tongue-tied through the open sorcery. Devi and I, being that we discussed a while back, and I can provide a link in the description for those who wish to listen to that conversation where we touched on pretty much the key points for that, and by no means a comprehensive and complete talking of it, but pretty much the basic 101 shit. Now, when it comes to astrology and where the Shem HaMephorash go ahead and play a part, these happen to fall under a branch of astrology which I only went ahead and recently found out the title of this subsect of it, called Quinarian astrology. And it's something that gave me a bit of a label for magical understandings that I innately already had and known within myself, as well as for the workings that I've been performing for a while in terms of, either just a general manner of astrological understanding and utilizing different planets and then calling upon said angels for them, or just generally speaking, any sorts of, not just based on where planets are currently, but, getting a comprehensive understanding of the traits of said angels themselves, the characteristics of them, even if I'm more so utilizing them at a less celestially in a line time, I guess to put it, but more on that later. So, Quinarian astrology, for those who are unaware of it, I happen to find a webpage that is by a author named Jamie Paul Lamb, and in this, it is a introduction to Quinarian astrology, where it gives the pretty much basic description. I can go ahead and put that link in the YouTube posting of this. But yes, this is more so of an introduction that precedes a book of theirs called the Astrological Goetia, which talks more so about not just Shem HaMephorash, but them in relation to the 72 demons of the Goetia and anything related to, that sector of astrology and those particular beings or personifications of these particular sections. But nevertheless, I'll go ahead and take a paragraph which goes ahead and speaks and summarizes about the manner of quinarian astrology. So the quinaries are 72 5-degree arc segments of the zodiac. If you divide the 360-degree ecliptic into 72, you produce the 5-degree quinaries. Each 30-degree sign is divided into 6 quinaries. The quinaries were first alluded to in a 3rd century BCE, which stands for Before Common Era, or for those who happen to be a little more so around my age group, are more so familiar with, BC, which stands for Before Christ. Babylonian document known as the Salmeshiniaka, which referred to 5-day periods that subdivided the year. So, when it comes to, once again, I'll provide a link for quinarian astrology, right? But when you look at quinaries, right, that term, quin is in this sense, more so of I'm trying to think of a particular term that's correct for it, more so of it pretty much, quin goes ahead and refers to 5 in of itself, hence the title, and hence the 5-degree segments and all of that. But nevertheless, for learning more about the Salmeshiniaka, all you could find on, going through search engines and the surface web thus far was an entry into the German version of Wikipedia, which I can provide a link in the YouTube postings description, and you'll have to translate it into English on your own to get a general comprehension of it. But pretty much, as far as I have an understanding, it is a document that has been referenced in other works throughout antiquity, but does not exist any longer itself. But apparently this is more so where there were original mentionings of a 72 numerically focused system of astrology, whereas the Zodiac, which is a 12 numerically based system, or anything related to the Deacons, which are 36 sectioned off a manner of astrology, happen to more so reign supreme and all that. Now, when it comes to the Shem HaMephorash, the Angels of the Zodiac, the 72 Angels of the Zodiac, when it comes to them being employed in a magical sense, they're best known for being part of what is known as the Shem operation, as simply dubbed by author and magician Damien Eccles. And it's part of the Western ceremonial magical tradition, and it is a ritual that entails calling upon all 72 angels of the Shem HaMephorash in order to invoke a massive burst of energy which you can absorb within yourself and experience. It builds off of the foundational template of the LBRP and the LIRP, which, are known as the lesser banishing or invoking rituals of the pentagram. That is an operation that has been alluded to on previous occasions, but has not yet, in terms of the opener sorcery, gone ahead and been actually, talked about singularly itself. And there's plenty of different sources out there that go ahead and cover the LBRP and the LARP, which includes what I'm going to recommend now, is for a more so full dive into the Shem operation, and of course the LBRP, the LIRP, and other rituals and workings that procedurally come before the Shem operation, in terms of ideally going ahead and doing those before doing the Shem operation itself. Check out Angels and Archangels by Damien Eccles to go ahead and learn about all of the ins and outs of that. But that is not particularly what this, me speaking on this topic is for, per se. More so, what I go ahead and happen to utilize the Angels of Shem HaMephorash for is for particular manners and workings, whether they be astrologically based or more so task or purpose based. So the angels, tongue-tied here, the angels of the Shem HaMephorash can be invoked in an individual context, whether, it's that astrological basis once again, or just based on the specialties that they hold. So I'm going to give a recent example for this. And at the time of this recording, within the past couple of days or so, we had the 2025 full moon in Scorpio. And in using this, as an example of having an astrological basis, at the point where the full moon hits its peak and officially is, you could say, at 100%, at least by the methods and means that we have different technologies to track the moon's, pretty much orbit around the Earth and such. This happened at the tongue-tied, the 22nd degree of Scorpio. The angel who governs over this particular degree within their particular pentad in this 72 section manner of interpreting the zodiacal, orbits, you can say, or what have you. This particular angel is Eshelo, which is alternatively named as Eshalish or Asalia, based on your particular reference point and all of that. But what they specialize in, according to authors Ben Woodcroft and Damien Eccles, are to contemplate the self and your true desires, understand where your future may take you, to make the truth known in any situation, to create love, and to receive omens about the future. So, if you wanted to call upon Eshelo for any of these purposes, it's recommended, as emphasized a lot in the Western magical tradition, that you do so when they're in a period of governance based on positions of the planets, and in particular a planet, an aspect of oneself that you're trying to work with or try to get the energy of. You can also go ahead and invoke them at any time, and based on my own personal experience, they can provide effective results. Before I went ahead and honestly utilized Eshelo or any other of the 72 in any way, shape, or form, for, based on like the position of not just the moon, but say, the planet Mars or the planet Venus or, Jupiter or so on and so forth, I honestly got the intuitive inclination to go ahead and just flip through the book and call upon one of them based on a situation with a former friend of mine and them needing magical assistance. And honestly, I just said, screw it. I'll just go ahead and do it. And as far as I can recall, this was the first time that I tried particularly invoking any sort of angelic intelligence whatsoever. And it happened to work. It happened to be effective. The task that they needed done, it went ahead and got accomplished based on the specialties of whichever one I happened to call on. And I can't particularly remember exactly which one it was at present, but this, started off the basis and was the foundation for me getting into angelic magic and going ahead and invoking these different entities and beings, starting off with individual angels of the Shem HaMephorash. Then going ahead and doing, a couple of them or multiple based on whatever the purpose is. Then I happen to work up to working with archangels and such and employing them, whether it was, individually or in tandem with these angels of the Shem HaMephorash. And that just happened to be my own journey, my own manner of understanding and coming into my own, you can say, magically speaking. Not necessarily in any manner that, was ascribed to a curriculum of a particular mystery school or secret society or, anything found in a book, but honestly, it's more so of me recognizing and realizing this and having that internal compass for myself. And if that seems to be something that vibes with you, then I would say that working with the angels of the Shem HaMephorash individually, that can be a good starting point, if that feels right unto you. So, in terms of Eshelo, right? That's only one example out of the whole 72. And for information regarding all of them, the two books that I'm going to go ahead and recommend are from the previously mentioned authors. And you can go ahead and, once again, not only just learn about, but engage with them all and calling upon them individually, several of them, and whenever you feel ready along your journey. And I would honestly say, if you're going to try to undertake it, it'll take quite a bit of time to do so. Going ahead and calling upon all 72 of them for the Shem operation. But those books that you can go ahead and more so learn about all 72, that is going to be Angelic Sigils, Keys, and Calls by Ben Woodcroft, and then Angels and Archangels, already mentioned and referenced, once again by Damien Eccles. So yes, that is me going ahead and covering the Shem HaMephorash, the 72 Angels of the Zodiac. And honestly, these particular angels, they're very task-oriented. They go ahead and they do what it is that you set them out to do, and it's very simple in terms of how they operate. And they are more so, I guess the best way I can put it is, they're more so like just primal forces that you're directing towards said task, and they will go ahead and accomplish it. And they have more so of a streamlined manner of purpose. You can say that they're kind of like arrows, and your particular intent is like the bow, and you go ahead and you line it up, and you shoot the shot, and they'll go ahead and they'll hit that bullseye, or they'll get pretty damn close to it. But yeah, so in regards to all that, once again, I encourage those who wish to go ahead and doing prayers or invocations or expand their own magical workings, expand their own spiritual experience and comprehension. Working with angels of the Shem HaMephorash is a good way to go about it. So having said all that, this has been Twisted with Open Sorcery, and stay frosty, Neguses. Peace.